Hi. In this video, I'll be reading about the second of 5 arguments that Dr. Craig presents in the article linked in the video description. This second argument is titled the Kalam Cosmological Argument, based on the beginning of the universe. Here's a different version of the cosmological argument, which I have called the Kalam Cosmological Argument in honor of its medieval Muslim proponents. Kalam is the Arabic word for theology. 1. Everything that begins to exist has a cause. 2. The universe began to exist. 3. Therefore, the universe has a cause. Once we reach the conclusion that the universe has a cause, we can then analyze what properties such a cause must have and assess its theological significance. Now, again, the argument is logically ironclad. So the only question is whether the two premises are more plausibly true than their denials. Second, if things could come into being uncaused out of nothing, then it's inexplicable why just anything and everything does not come into existence uncaused from nothing. Third, premise 1 is constantly confirmed in our experience as we see things that begin to exist being brought about by a prior cause. Premise 2. Premise 2 can be supported by both philosophical argument and scientific evidence. The philosophical arguments aim to show that there cannot have an infinite regress of past events. In other words, the series of past events must be finite and have had a beginning. Some of these arguments try to show that it is impossible for an actually infinite number of things to exist. Therefore, an infinite number of past events cannot exist. Others try to show that an actually infinite series of past events could never elapse. Since the series of past events has obviously elapsed, the number of past events must be finite. The scientific evidence for premise 2 is based on the expansion of the universe and the thermodynamic properties of the universe. According to the Big Bang model of origin of the universe, physical space and time, along with all the matter and energy in the universe, came into being at a point in the past about 13.7 billion years ago. And there's a figure titled Figure 1 that you can look at if you click the link in the video description and go to the second argument. You'll see that there. What makes the Big Bang so amazing is that it represents the origin of the universe from literally nothing. As the physicist P.C.W. Davies explains, the coming into being of the universe, as discussed in modern science, is not just a matter of imposing some sort of organization upon a previously incoherent state, but literally the coming into being of all physical things from nothing. Of course, cosmologists have proposed alternative theories over the years to try to avoid this absolute beginning, but none of these theories has commended itself to the scientific community as more plausible than the Big Bang theory. In fact, in 2003, Arvind Borde, Alvin Guth, and Alexander Vilenkin proved that any universe that is, on average, in a state of cosmic expansion cannot be eternal in the past, but must have an absolute beginning. Their proof holds regardless of the physical description of the very early universe, which still eludes scientists, and applies even to any wider multiverse of which our universe might be thought to be a part. Vilenkin pulls no punches. It is said that an argument is what convinces reasonable men, and a proof is what it takes to convince even an unreasonable man. With the proof now in place, cosmologists can no longer hide behind the possibility of a past eternal universe. There is no escape. They have to face the problem of a cosmic beginning. Moreover, in addition to the evidence based on the expansion of the universe, we have thermodynamic evidence for the beginning of the universe. The second law of thermodynamics predicts that in a finite amount of time, the universe will grind down to a cold, dark, dilute, and lifeless state. But if it has already existed for infinite time, the universe should now be in such a desolate condition. Scientists have therefore concluded that the universe must have begun to exist a finite time ago and is now in the process of winding down. Conclusion. It follows logically from the two premises that the universe has a cause. The prominent new atheist philosopher Daniel Dennett agrees that the universe has a cause, but he thinks that the cause of the universe is itself. Yes, he's serious. In what he calls, quote, the ultimate bootstrapping trick, close quote, he claims that the universe created itself. Dennett's view is plainly nonsense. Notice that he's not saying that the universe is self-caused in the sense that it has always existed. No. Dennett agrees that the universe had an absolute beginning, but claims that the universe brought itself into being. But this is clearly impossible, for in order to create itself, the universe would have to already exist. It would have to exist before it existed. Dennett's view is thus logically incoherent. The cause of the universe must therefore be a transcendent cause beyond the universe. So what properties must such a cause of the universe possess? As the cause of space and time, it must transcend space and time, and therefore exist timelessly and non-spatially, at least without the universe. The transcendent cause must therefore be changeless and immaterial because 1, anything that is timeless must also be unchanging, and 2, anything that is changeless must be non-physical and immaterial, since material things are constantly changing at the molecular and atomic levels. Such a cause must be without a beginning and uncaused, at least in the sense of lacking any prior causal conditions, since there cannot be an infinite regress of causes. Occam's razor, the principle that states that we should not multiply causes beyond necessity, will shave away any other causes, since only one cause is required to explain the effect. This entity must be unimaginably powerful, if not omnipotent, since it created the universe without any material cause. Finally, and most remarkably, such a transcendent first cause is plausibly personal. We've already seen in our discussion of the argument from contingency that the personhood of the first cause of the universe is implied by its timelessness and immateriality. The only entities that can possess such properties are either minds or abstract objects like numbers. But abstract objects don't stand in causal relations. Therefore, the transcendent cause of the origin of the universe must be an unembodied mind. Moreover, the personhood of the first cause is also implied, since the origin of an effect with a beginning is a cause. Since the origin of an effect with a beginning is a cause without a beginning. We've seen that the beginning of the universe was the effect of a first cause. By the nature of the cause, that cause cannot have a beginning of its existence or any prior cause. It just exists changelessly without beginning. And a finite time ago, it brought the universe into existence. Now, this is very peculiar. The cause is, in some sense, eternal, and yet the effect that it produces is not eternal, but began to exist a finite time ago. How can this happen? If the sufficient conditions for the effect are eternal, then why isn't the effect also eternal? How can a first event come to exist if the cause of the event exists changelessly and eternally? How can the cause exist without its effect? There seems to be only one way out of this dilemma, and that's to say that the cause of the universe's beginning is a personal agent who freely chose to create the universe in time. Philosophers call this type of causation agent causation, and because the agent is free, he can initiate new effects by freely bringing about conditions that were not previously present. Thus, a finite time ago, a creator could have freely brought the world into being at that moment. In this way, the creator could exist changelessly and eternally, but choose to create the world in time. By choose, one need not mean the creator changed his mind about the decision to create, but that he freely and eternally intends to create a world with a beginning. By exercising his causal power, he therefore brings it about that a world with a beginning comes to exist. So the cause is eternal, but the effect is not in this way. Then it is possible for the temporal universe to have come to exist from an eternal cause through the free will of a personal creator. So, on the basis of an analysis of the argument's conclusion, we may therefore infer that a personal creator of the universe exists, imaginably powerful. Thanks so much for watching.